people who have ataxia, they're the real troopers. They're so supportive, and this was one very, very dramatic example.
Dr. John got it when he was 29. In the late 40s, he was doing the research on genetics. He was just theorizing that if you could get a linkage with some known factor, that this linkage would then predict who could get ataxia. That was forward thinking. Someone told me about Dr. Orr, and that he would be an ideal person to do the genetic studies to actually locate the gene. And that was in 1986. And by 1993, they discovered the gene for SCA1, which is the disease in our family, spinocerebellar ataxia type 1, which is found in the Scott family, the family in Michigan, and the family down in southern United States, where Dr. Zogby was studying.
At the time we were trying to clone the SCA1 gene. It was like searching for one individual in the state of Texas. By using the information from the two families, we kept narrowing it down from the whole state to a few cities, down to one city, the biggest highway in that city, and we decided we're going to march that highway, which is, imagine that's the chromosome. But you march from one end and I'll march from one end, and we'll make sure we both cover the middle part. And we found it right in the middle of that highway.
In order to map the SCA1 gene, we had to use recombinations. And one of the recombinations that we used to map the region was from your family, and the other one was in Larry Scott's family. And there was this one individual that we thought was a recombinant. You always wanted to double check it because it's so important.
It was the person, I think, that allowed them to know that they were right there, parked on the gene. It was from the Michigan family. Dr. Random, who was his postdoctoral fellow at the time, said to me, I would like to have you recollect that blood just to make sure we have the right sample. And he had died. So we talked over and says, well, there's anything that would give any DNA. It was a hairbrush.
First of all, this was an exquisite silver hairbrush, and I thought, I was so nervous we were going to lose it. We found one hairs in the hairbrush with the bulb still there, so we could get DNA and verify that this person really was a recombinant and we hadn't made a mistake. Very humbling to have the family make that material available to us.
It's important to know that the disease has really had a profound impact on the Scott family. There were 65 people that eventually developed ataxia and died of it in my kindred. 65 people is not a small number when you think of one family. Probably if I've accomplished anything, it's been to really counsel the family members and encourage them to think about their reproductive options. When I started working in 1971, there were 59 at risk for the disease. Now there's only one person at risk for the disease. We're down to one. And so I think it's important to know that families can find out what's in their family in about 60% of the cases now. We fulfilled Dr. John Scott's dream that finding the gene would give us a deep understanding as to what's causing the ataxia, and that we could find a cure. Henry Nino invites me to a clinic. I find out about the Michigan family. When I examined the family with him, I said, boy, this looks like my family. It looks like the same ataxia. And we found that it had the same DNA type. I don't take credit for things like that because, you know, there's serendipity. But without Harry Orr, I mean, people just popped into my life at times. You just wouldn't believe it. I just stand on the shoulders of other people.
It's been a real family effort, so to speak. It's the way science is supposed to be done.
Absolutely.
It was a labor of love.